So you can track and find the little sutures down the middle and then coming up. Okay. Those aren't the best. They've been glued up. These are a little clearer. You can see the line in the middle easily too. That's where glasses sit.
And then infraorbital foramen.
So below the orbits right there. Upside.
And then alveolar processes. So they're like teeth roots, like the sockets.
Yeah, when they're missing, you can actually see. Because it's any of the bone around the opening where the tooth would have been.
And then incisive fossa.
So it'll look like a hole.
Like a hole in here.
Yeah. Again, it's got the depression, the holes in it, but you notice the hole. But it's behind your front teeth, incisors, incisive fossa.
And then there's palatine process of the maxilla. Is that just like the front of the roof of your mouth?
Yep. You can see the line in between for the left and right, and then you got the suture back here. That's palatine bone. That's the palatine process. Maxilla bone up front.
And then maxillary sinus.
Not on this.
Okay. And then temporal process for zygomatic bones.
The little guy. So you find your suture and it's in front of the suture.
And then frontal process.
Again, you find the suture up here. So that's one going up the side of the orbit.
And then maxillary process.
The maxillary process, yeah, you can see it good enough. This little piece right there till you hit the suture. It's like the lower lateral edge of the orbit.
And then the mental protuberance. And then mental foramen.
Left or right.
And then alveolar process again.
Only again when you're missing teeth, basically.
Oh, okay. That one?
There, you got a bunch of them. Better in the back, too, further back. But yeah. You see the edges.
And then there's the body of the mandible.
Left or right? I'm holding the right side.
And then the angle.
Right angle.
And then ramus.
Ramus is the right ramus is yeah, the whole thing coming up.
Whole thing. And
So it's
then
flag like right in there.
mandibular notch.
Right mandibular notch.
And then mandibular condyle.
It's kind of broken, but it's there.
And then coronoid process.
Those are all rights.
And then mandibular foramen.
Still a right. So it's inside right by the spring, basically.
Okay, and then the lacrimal bones, right and left.
Not yours either. Okay, which one did I get for that specifically? Not you, apparently. Not you. I'm running out, so it better be you. Okay, I lied to myself. What did I pick up? You aren't that good. You're worse. You're okay. You're not much better, but slightly on this side. So your lacrimal bone's right there.
And then the lacrimal foramen.
Is that hole? It's like a little groove that leads into it, and then you got the hole. Some of them are shattered out. Every so often we'll have a decent one.
And then there's the palatine bones.
So you look back here, the back third of the palate, hard palate.
Okay, and then there's the greater palatine foramen. And then the left side.
We can't put it in there because I'll cover it up. The little bitty hole in front. And they mean lesser. Yeah, it's not going to hold most of those broom straws.
And then the horizontal plate of the palatine bone.
That's the back of the hard palate. So palatine process, anterior 2/3, and the back is the horizontal plate.
And then right and left inferior nasal concha bones.
guys hanging on the sides. In there. They're almost gone on that one too. This one, they're totally gone. Oh, totally gone on that one. Your guys is had them. So good little curls. Okay.
And then there's the Vollmer bob.
That's the back of it. Okay. So a little bit of that guy up front, right in the middle is Vollmer too. But most of them is shattered out on the ones up this way. So the Vollmer's better on the nose model too.
Okay. And then all the fissures and foramina. Do we go over all these?
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
No, not all of them.
There's the optic foramen.
Okay, optic foramen. Little bitty round hole in the eye orbit, way back in there. It's almost perfect circle. See it? Comes out through the sphenoid. Just under one of the either side, depending on whether you're looking on the left or right eye. But it'll come out right under your lesser wing.
And then there's superior orbital fissure.
It's the great big groove back there. And you got a bunch of things going through there. The optic nerve passes through the optic foramen straight back to the brain.
And then the inferior orbital fissure.
Down on the floor of the orbit. Get in there. Oh, I can't. I'm caught there. So it goes through the floor, kind of off to the side. The fissure's way in the back. Lots of blood vessels and stuff pass through those. Nerves and other things too, but they're doing other stuff.
And then the lacrimal foramen.
We did, but that's that little guy through the lacrimal bone. That hole.
And then supraorbital foramen or notch.
Was up there. So there's the notch. Both of those.
And then infraorbital foramen.
Below. So your holes. Right there.
And then there's the mental foramens.
Yeah, the mandible. The holes.
And then mandibular foramen.
Is the one that's back inside the rings.
Inside jaw. And then foramen rotundum.
So you come up the sphenoid as it's rising. That's where it's going to go. And it will come out in the orbital fissure. Where if you push this, keep getting it through, it'll come out into the back of the eye.
And then foramen ovale.
The oval one. Nice oval, kind of smooth too, very smooth. From that view or that view. Either view.
And then the foramen spinosa.
There's a little hole more to the side and behind it. Little bitty guy there. It's in it, so it's going to cover it pretty much, and that's where it comes out behind again. Off to the side a little.
And then olfactory foramina.
The little holes in the cribriform plate. They're still sort of there.
And then foramen lacerum.
Lacerum's that jagged looking thing. Kind of behind the ovale. And then it comes out over there, and that's where the carotid canal comes from the other view.
And then condylar fossa.
Behind the condyles. Try the one that I can get at that end there, because the hole. I'm caught now.
And then internal auditory meatus.
The internal is through that petrous portion. Comes out of it.
So some of these holes they don't go through. It's just like a foramen.
Right.
It's just like
Right.
there. Oh, okay.
They come out from another place.
But they're so small. It's like you can't.
Some of them, yeah, they're too microscopic because that's the nerve going to pass through to get to the brain from the ear.
And then there's external auditory meatus.
The outside.
And then carotid canal.
So it comes into that foramen lacerum. That's where that would empty. It's going to not go anywhere near that jagged part because it's curving to go into the brain.
And then stylomastoid foramen.
So you find basically where your styloid process is. There's the styloid, there's the mastoid, and then you find the hole in between.
And then there's the jugular foramen.
Jugular foramen. Let's see if I can find a little. Oh, you're getting worse. Here's a decent one from that angle. It's actually pretty good size, but sometimes divided into two on one side. But you can see it maybe from that angle. It's actually kind of big. Okay. So it's below the petrous portion, and that's where it's going to come out. Let me get this turned towards you more. Okay. The internal jugular is going to go through. So the internal carotid goes through the carotid canal, internal jugular, and 3 nerves. That's why it has to be big, but that's why it can be divided. So like the vein went through one way, and then the nerves together on their other side.
And then there's the foramen magnum.
The big hole.
And then hypoglossal canal.
Is that one that either of you, come on, I want the end of it to come up. Okay, I'll take it the other way. I'm gonna get there. There. So which angle can you see it? Do you see it from the side here? Or possibly, do you see it more easily when you look at it this way? This one you do.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them you don't, but this one you happen to. The way I recommend is to get the thing to go through it so you can actually then turn it, see, you can see how it goes through the condyle. Is that it?
There's also the
The
greater
foramina,
palatine.
yeah, palatines. So the greater are the big ones. And the lesser, sometimes there's a couple of lesser, but on most of these, I'm just seeing the one in front. There's one behind, actually, on that guy too.
What's the greater?
Lesser, the little bitty one. The big one's a little greater.
Big ones.
Yeah, you can really get that end in there. This guy, maybe, maybe not. And if you've got 2, no problem. If you don't, it's just variation.
And then the sutures, the coronal.
Coronal suture,
And then there's sagittal.
sagittal, right between the 2 parietals.
And then squamosal.
Squamosal is right there. It's going to separate the temporals from everybody else. And there's your other one.
And then lambdoidal.
Lambdoidal is the one coming up from the occipital. So it will finish right where it's cut on that one. So on some of them you can see a little bit of it in the back. As it's coming up, it'll finish up above their cut.
And the sinuses, they're all different. The frontal sinuses.
These are the only ones you can see on the skulls for sure. Only if they're cut low enough.
Okay. And then we can't see all the other ones.
Correct. You might because of holes, but you should not be able to. You have to use the nose model. In what?
It just has the fetal skull and the hyoid bone.
It's up front. The hyoid's on him. What
and
else?
then auditory ossicles.
They're in the back. What's on the next page?
Vertebral columns.
Say it again.
The vertebral column.
Vertebral columns.
So the whole vertebrals, each vertebra and all the parts again, and then